Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and I'm the blogger behind BrighterDarling.com. God, that gets old. I need to think of a new intro. Oh, I just see a bug crawling on my wall. Anyway, as you can tell from the title of this video, today we're doing a foundation wear test and little mini review of the newer Nars Soft Matte Foundation. Now, I have been wanting to try a new foundation for a while now. I've been pretty consistent using my Beautycounter Skin Twin Foundation, and as you guys know, I am definitely into more cleaner beauty lately, but that doesn't mean that I don't try non-clean or traditional brands here and there. I'm still a beauty blogger, I still love beauty, and it's important for me to try, traditional things to see how they compare to the cleaner options I am testing and reviewing. So with that said, when I saw that Nars came out with this new Soft Matte Complete Foundation, it really attracted me because I have historically really liked the Nars foundations. When I was younger, I swore by the Nars Sheer Glow, big fan of that formula. I loved the Radiant Concealer for a long time until I had Tarte Shape Tape in my life. There was a lot of Nars products that worked well for me. The foundation colors that he creates really flatter my more olive skin, so I've always enjoyed their products, and unfortunately most of their products are not clean. So when I made this switch to cleaner beauty a year or so ago, a lot of the stuff that they made I had to get rid of. However, they do make the Nars Radiant Longwear Foundation that I reviewed on this channel a very long time ago. I'll link that below, but honestly my skin type has changed, so I would love to redo that and show you guys what it looks like on my skin now, which is a little more dry than it used to be. When I filmed that, I believe my skin was much more oily. Now it's more normal dry. So this formula and the new Soft Matte are very similar in the way the ingredients are done. So let me tell you something about these two. The reason I actually picked up the Radiant Foundation is because I love the Beautycounter Skin Twin Foundation, and that's a great everyday light medium buildable radiant finish foundation. Sorry, I keep looking at this bug on my ceiling. For every day, but I have a lot of clients and even myself, if I want a more full coverage formula, that formula is not full coverage, and I'm not gonna BS you and tell you it is. So if there's ever an event or a day that I just need more coverage on my skin, sorry, I'm just looking to see what it looks like, the Beautycounter Skin Twin doesn't cut it, right? I just need a different formula. So that's where I looked up this Nars one, and I really felt like it would check the boxes, particularly because, and I know I feel like you're probably thinking we're getting off topic, it's tying together, particularly because I wanted to be able to make a cleaner and safer, sorry, I got hair on my face, cleaner and safer recommendation for people who wanted to have a better, cleaner foundation but needed more coverage than Beautycounter Skin Twin. The other thing that's really difficult in clean beauty right now, it just hasn't been, I don't think, created yet from what I've tried, a full coverage liquid foundation for people who have oily skin. A lot of clean beauty uses a lot of oils and hydrating ingredients in their liquid foundations, which is great for some skin types, but it really doesn't do well for those with oily skin. And I have blogger friends who say, I have blogger friends of mine who say, I would love to try Beautycounter, or I would love to use clean beauty, but it's really hard for me because I have oily skin. And I don't want to use a powder foundation, like powder mineral foundations. I don't like that. I want a liquid, and I completely get it. So although the Nars is not completely clean, I want to preface this with big bright lights. Nars is not a clean brand. These two formulas, to me, are cleaner than a lot of others out there, and I feel like if you need something like this in your life, something with more full coverage to make you feel better, these are a better option than a lot of stuff that's on the market right now. And the reason is, they are, both of these formulas, the Radiant and the new Soft Matte that we're going to talk about today, are free of sulfates, SLS, SLES, parabens, formaldehydes, formaldehyde releasing agents, phthalates, mineral oil, retinol palmitate, oxybenzone, coal tar, hydroquinone, which actually is banned everywhere now in the United States, triclosan, same thing, triclocarbon, and contains less than 1% of synthetic fragrances. This product is also vegan and cruelty free. So when I had looked up the Nars Radiant, it had been out for a while, and it kind of scored between a 2 and a 3 on the the apps I use to check cleanliness. The soft matte is really brand new, so it's hard for me to find ratings yet, but I'm going to venture to say it is going to be very similar in terms of safety because the ingredients are very similar, the bulk of them. However, these are very different in terms of what they look like on the skin. This is going to be full coverage with a radiant finish. This is full coverage with a matte finish. So let's get into the nitty gritty of this baby. This new soft matte foundation is obviously full coverage, transfer proof, oxidation resistant. It lasts up to 16 hours with a natural looking matte finish. And it says it is good for normal, dry, combination, and oily skin. It's in a plastic squeeze tube, whereas the Radiant is in a glass tube with a pump. And I am using shade Stromboli Medium 3 today. So, some initial thoughts, since this is not a first impression for me. I have, as I mentioned, more normal to dry skin since I've had my daughter 2 years ago. I can't believe it. Prior to that, I had very oily skin. My skin foundation preferences have slightly changed. I don't prefer super full coverage, super matte finishes anymore on an everyday basis because they're a little more high maintenance. They require a little more blending in. They require a little more finesse. Whereas things that have a little bit more of a glowy finish and maybe don't have as much coverage, they're a little more forgiving. They're easier to blend out and they're faster to apply. So although I love the look of a full coverage matte formula, and when I look at my makeup today, I'm like, wow, it looks really pretty. It looks makeup-y, but it looks really pretty. I like this look. I just don't have time for this on an everyday basis anymore. So with that being said, I had a really hard time making this work the first few days I used it because I was going in with my normal big chunky kabuki sort of foundation brush to apply it, and it was catching onto random dry patches I never ever have seen my skin have. It was really doing a disservice, especially under my eyes, and I just was like, wow, this is not really working well for me. It looked really dry, and I know it's matte, but it says it can work on dry skin, so I don't know. So after a couple days of using the brush, I switched to using my beauty blender to apply this, and game changer. Completely different finish on the skin. It actually looked really nice, and today I'm doing a split face of it, so you will see me using one side of my face with the beauty blender. It looked so much better. It gave me that full coverage, but it also still had a little bit of forgiveness on the skin where it wasn't super duper matte and flat. A couple days ago, I was actually on YouTube, and I was mentioning this in the application, so I'm going to be repeating myself, but I was on YouTube watching videos, as a lot of us do, and I had seen an ad pop up for this foundation from one of the Nars artists, and she was saying that the way that they intended this to be applied was actually using your fingers, because the warmth of your hands helps it melt into the skin better and give a more natural finish. And I was like, yes, I bet, because the brush looked horrible on me. So today we actually did a split face. This side of my face I used my fingers, and this side I used the beauty blender. So you'll get to see that. We're gonna see how it wears throughout the day. This says a 16-hour wear. There's no way we're gonna make it 16 hours today. I have this applied at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So I will probably check back in around 9:30, 10 p.m. and we'll just kind of see where my face looks. We're gonna roll right into the application, and then I'll wrap up tonight and we'll give some final thoughts. You know what? I'm not even gonna use a brush on my face with this foundation because I know I don't like it, and I know it will just not do it justice if we do that. So what I do wanna do is I'm gonna do a split face, but we're gonna do one side of my face just using my finger and one side of my face with a damp beauty blender. So this is gonna be the very first time I'm actually doing this with my finger. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't used foundation using my hand in so long, but look, I mean, it's a lot of coverage. So let's see how it goes when you like do it how they did it on the ad. And if you guys are on YouTube a lot, maybe you've seen this ad as well. So there always is that, I don't want to call it a better application, but there are perks to applying a foundation. I need to look at my mirror a lot closer. There are perks to applying it with your finger. One, yes, it melts into the skin a lot better. Two, you actually do get a lot more coverage because nothing's getting absorbed into the brush or a sponge. And you can really get into all those crevices that you normally can't get with a brush or sponge. So I can see this looking, this looks a lot more natural with my fingers than when I used a brush. It's still grabbing a little bit on my dry patches that I didn't even know I had. But in general, it's pretty nice. And I would say that that's not the fullest coverage though, as you can kind of probably see on camera. I'm gonna do a little on my forehead. I don't really love the finger on the forehead. It seems like it's just getting in my hairline a lot because it's got more spreadability. You're able to really get, so you need a lot less. I guess this was user error. But I can definitely see an improved look compared to using the brush. The brush is like a hard pass for me if you have normal to normal. I wouldn't even recommend this foundation if you have normal dry skin, but if you have normal skin, I would not even use a brush either. It's just not flattering. Okay, that's one simple layer with my brush. I'm gonna actually put my little headband on because this thing is not working. So here we are, one layer of the fingers. Let's add a little more where I typically need more coverage, which is always here along my jawline. I'm gonna just kind of tap it in at first. I kind of forgot to do my chin. And kind of tap and blend. It's super matte. I know they say this is a soft matte, but I don't know. To me, this is pretty matte. Like you guys know I used to work for Estee Lauder and I was diehard for the Double Wear foundation, which is a matte finish, but this feels more matte to me. I haven't used a Double Wear in a while, but anyway, okay. I mean, it looks nice. The color match is perfect. I love Stromboli. I've used Stromboli for years in college and beyond. So it's nice to kind of have that shade in my collection again. But let's go in and do the side with the Beauty Blender. Pick it up on the fat side of my blender and then just go in. And there you go. I mean, the nice thing about blenders over brushes as well is that yes, they also can get into those little nooks and crannies of the skin better than brushes. And also because of the hydration from like the moisture from the damp Beauty Blender, it doesn't grab onto your dry spots as much as your hands even do. So for me, before we even get to the end of this wear test, I'm going to just say I do think I'm going to prefer the Beauty Blender application method with this foundation, which probably is the only time you will ever find me do a foundation wear test on this channel where I prefer the Beauty Blender over any other method of application. And it's simply because it's very matte to me. So again, if you have normal oily skin or normal skin, this is a matte formula and it can pick up on any dry patches if you have them. So I'm actually taking a little more for my second layer. Also, I feel like it went so much faster with the sponge. So take that for what it's worth. I do feel like this is the method to go with if you're gonna try this. This is what we look like with one, well, not one, I guess I did layer it a little bit. One application on my face. This is the sponge. You can see it has like a little bit of glow. And then this side is very flat. Now, yes, it's dried a little bit, but still, I can even feel less dry on this side. So anyway, just make sure there's no lines. I'm going to go finish up my face and then I'll pop back on to let you know how the rest of the application went with the rest of my makeup, because when I've used this in the past couple weeks, there have been some issues, particularly when I use concealer under my eyes with this foundation. So let's see. I feel very fall today. I was trying to channel some fall vibes. But I will say I think my makeup came out pretty nice in comparison to when I've used this foundation with a brush. The brush is just a no-no. Let me take this off. At least if you don't have super oily skin. If you have super oily skin, maybe you can do the brush. Okay, so just to kind of walk through what I did on the rest of my face. So after I put on the foundation, of course, I went in with my Tarte Shape Tape. I'm currently using shade Medium Sand under my eyes, and this was the issue. It was really patching up under my eyes to a degree I have never seen before with my foundation. And actually, hold on, the lighting looks a little bright right now. I wonder if I can, I don't know if I'm darkening it or lightening it. That's too light, hold on. That looks a little better. Okay, so under my eyes, I was looking really patchy. Today, it looks totally normal and fine, and even when I set it with my powder, fine. So I really think that just not using the brush helped, because the brush was just pulling on dry patches I didn't even know I had. So then when you're putting concealer on, which is even thicker of a consistency with more pigment and less moisture, it was making it so much worse. So anyway, Tarte Shape Tape. Then I set under the eyes with Beauty Bakery Flour and Cassava. It's a yellow toned powder. Then I did my brows with my Beautycounter Brow Pencil in medium. Set the brows with the Beautycounter Brow Gel in medium as well. On the eyes, the eyeshadow look today is actually using a older palette from Bare Minerals. Not old, I think it's a couple years old. The Gen Nude palettes in the copper palette. I pretty much used every shade in this palette. Yeah, I used every shade. I used the green as eyeliner, so if you see a little bit of liner on, that's what it's from. Then I bronzed with the Well People bronzer. This is a clean formula from Target. It's a really cool toned bronzer, great for the fall. I highlighted with Benefit Cookie highlighter, which is really intense. I love this one, haven't used it in a minute. Blush is Beautycounter in Date. This is a perfect fall blush. It's so pretty. I just got this, so I'm really enjoying it. And then on my lips, I have a little bit of Charlotte Tilbury lip pencil and Pillow Talk with the Beautycounter gloss in Magnolia Shimmer, which is also my #1 favorite lip gloss that we have right now. Oh, and mascara is Thrive Cosmetics. So that's the rest of my face. It is currently 12:13 p.m. I will then check back with you guys later tonight and we'll see what my face looks like. Here is our final check-in. It is 9:47 p.m. Not bad. I honestly have not looked at my face all day. I didn't work out or anything, but I did run some errands. I had to go to the grocery store. I had to go to Target, so I was wearing a mask for a little while. My daughter is in this very silly phase where she likes to shove her face into my face so I can blow raspberries on her cheeks. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna completely wipe all my makeup off. So let me look at myself. I have not looked at and I was just cooking like all evening. So with that being said though, I think it held up really well. Like, you guys have watched my videos for foundation reviews before. I always say like the biggest telltale sign for me if a foundation is holding up well is if my blush and bronzer and stuff is still there, and it's very much so still there. Even highlight, you can see like the shimmer from the highlight. That's a really good sign. So in terms of longevity, yes, this is certainly long wear. Is it starting to show some signs of breaking down? Yes. Now I will say, I did not set my whole face with powder today because this is a matte foundation. You guys saw from the beginning, my face was pretty matte. So the only place I set foundation was just my concealer. So when I look around my nose, it's definitely starting to, I'll get a little closer, hopefully you guys can see. Let's see. I don't know if you can tell. It's starting to just kind of like patch up around my pores, which happens to every single foundation when I've worn it for long enough. So that is nothing against the foundation. But I will say it's still pretty much there. And again, if you've watched some of those older videos of mine where I was really oily, I always would say if I just did a little one like this, like smooth it all out in certain spots, it's good as new. However, it is makeup-y. It is definitely makeup-y. It looks like makeup. I feel like I'm wearing makeup when I wear it. And the funny thing is, oh, you know what? See, like some of my like blemishes are showing through. That's honestly mask wearing and my daughter like coming up to my face like a psychopath. So I'm not even gonna hold that against the foundation. So my overall thoughts are also that the sponge side looks way more even still, and it's not settling into the pores so obviously the way the side that I applied with my hands is. So even though that did go on better than a brush, like using my hand, what I'm finding is, especially like where I have some larger pores, it seems to have just settled in those bigger pores. Whereas the side that I did the sponge, not nearly as obvious, if at all. So I would say no matter what skin type you are, whether you're oily, normal, or dry, I think you're going to get the best application with this foundation using a damp beauty blender. I also honestly would only really recommend this foundation for somebody who is pretty oily, because to me, it's just really matte. I don't like the look of just flat skin anymore. If you want that look though, you might love this. I personally like fuller coverage, but I want it to look a little more radiant and natural, which is why I do tend to prefer the Nars Radiant Longwear, because I get just as much coverage, but it just looks so much more natural on the skin and forgiving. So I don't know, like I just want to look like I have naturally flawless skin, not like my skin looks flawless because I have a lot of makeup and it's matte on. So, I don't know. However, with all that being said, I used to be so oily that I know this definitely has a purpose for a lot of you out there who are really oily. And I bet you'll really like this. And for some reason, let's say you don't like Estee Lauder Double Wear, or you want something that's a little bit cleaner, this is a great option. Like I would definitely say like this is a cleaner formula than Estee Lauder Double Wear, and it's going to give you that same full coverage, more matte finish. So that's also something you can consider. But otherwise, I think that's all I have to say about this. I am going to go to bed. I have to wake up early. If you guys want to check this foundation out, I will have it linked below in my description bar. I did get mine at Sephora, but I know they are selling it at Nars. I don't think this formula is at Ulta at this time. But if you want the Nars Radiant Longwear, that one is at Ulta, so that's good. Alright guys, I will talk to you later. Hope this was helpful.